कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotee. So today is Friday. It is 11th of October. It is Ashwini Masa, Padmanabha Masa, Sukla Paksham. And today is Ashtami Tithi and Navami Tithi. Both are falling on the same day. But there are no Vaishnavas in the calendar today. But tomorrow, the Durgashtami, that's it, celebrations are uh, happening in the temples. That is tomorrow. Okay, so for today, so we shall quickly move into Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, so Parikshit Maharaj speaking to Sukadeva Goswami to encourage him to speak more, and also he is inquiring many questions. So here in the last 3 days, so he has been speaking on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Whoever hears this, he wanted to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and while hearing, he wanted to really relinquish his material body. And whoever hears the Srimad Bhagavatam daily, so the Lord enters into their heart, and he will cleanse all the impurities from their heart. And in such a way, a devotee would never leave the lotus feet of Krishna. So Dhautatma Purusha Krishna Padamulam Namunchati Mukta Sarup Parikleshaha Pantha Swasaranam Yata. Just like a traveler, once he comes home, he will be relaxed at home. Likewise, a living entity, once he comes to the lotus feet of Krishna, he will never ever leave after purifying himself. So likewise, Parikshit, after mentioning that, he is asking Sukadeva Goswami many other questions. So starting from how the living entity exists into the being, enters into this material world, taking the material body. So he's asking, so actually the spirit soul, it is different from the material body. So now it has come into the existence in contact with the matter, and now whether it has happened just accidentally or if there is a cause for it. So you know all these things, O Sukadeva Goswami, kindly explain this to me. Likewise, Parikshit is inquiring from Sukadeva Goswami. So we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 8, verse number 7. It is very important question. Many devotees would be having this kind of question. But Parikshit is also asking. So later on, Sukadeva Goswami is going to explain. So all this chapter 8 is all the questions of Parikshit. Yad adatu mato brahman deharambho asya dhatubihi yadruchaya hetuna va bhavanto janate yata. Yad adhatu mato brahman, and yad as it is, adhatu mataha, without being materially constituted. Dhatuhu is, there are sapta dhatu. The material body is made up of the sapta dhatus. And yet adhatu mato means without this dhatus, without this material elements. Yet adhatu mato brahman, or learned brahmana. So adhatu mataha, without being materially constituted, or brahmana. So deharambasya dhatubihi, deha arambasya dhatubihi. Deha, this material body, in the beginning of the living entity. Arambasya. Asya, who has taken this material body, accepted this material body, asya, that person, arambha, this is the beginning, how it has, and which is that deha arambhasya dhatubihi, dhatu is the by matter. How this living entity accepted the body which is made up of the matter. यद यद अदातुमतो ब्रह्मन् देहारंभ अस्य धातुभिः यदृच्छया हेतुना वा यदृच्छया, it is the without cause, just by accidental. Many people are, it is a there is a theory of some theory is going on in the people, whether this Big Bang theory, whether it has come into existence just by an accident. So here Parikshit question is asking yadruchaya, whether it is accidental without any cause, hetunava, due to some cause, if there is a cause for this living entity accepting this material body made up of dhatu bihi. Yadruchaya, yadruchaya hetunava, bhavanto janate yata, and yourself, your good self, bhavanto janate yata, you may know it. So yata, as you inform me. So kindly explain all these things to me. Likewise, Parikshit is asking. Yadruchaya hetunava. These are the questions. यद अदातु मतो ब्रह्मन् देहारंभ अस्य धातुभिः यदृच्छया हेतुना वा भवन्तो जानते यथा. So translation for this verse. O learned Brahmana, the transcendental spirit soul is different from the material body. Does he acquire the body accidentally or by some cause? Will you kindly explain this? Or it is known to you? And purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Can you request Sharanya Mataji to read the purport, please?
Hare Krishna. Maharaj Parikshit, being a typical devotee, is not only satisfied by confirming the importance of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from the representative of Brahmaji by disciplic succession, but he is still more anxious to establish the philosophical basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and as such, all questions that may arise in the mind of a serious student must be cleared by the statements of the authority. A person on the path of devotional service may inquire from his spiritual master all about the spiritual positions of God and the living beings. From the Bhagavad Gita, as well as from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is known that qualitatively the Lord and the living beings are one. The living beings in the conditioned state of material existence is subjected to many transmigrations by continuous changing of the material body. But what are the cause of the material embodiment of the part and parcel of the Lord? Maharaja Parikshit inquired about this very important matter for the benefit of all classes of candidates on the path of self-realization and the devotional service of the Lord. Indirectly, it is confirmed that the Supreme Being, the Lord, makes no such material changes of body. He is spiritually whole, with no difference between his body and his soul, unlike the conditioned soul. The liberated living beings who associate with the Lord in person are also exactly like the Lord. Only the conditioned souls awaiting liberations are subjected to change of bodies. How was the process first begun? In the process of devotional service, the first step is to take shelter of the spiritual master and then inquire from the spiritual master all about the process. This inquiry is essential for immunity to all kind of offenses on the path of devotional service. Even if one is fixed in devotional service like Maharaja Parikshit, he must still inquire from the realized spiritual master all about this. In other words, the spiritual master must also be well versed and learned so that he may be able to answer all these inquiries from the devotees. Thus, one who is not well versed in authorized scriptures and not able to answer all such relevant inquiries should not pose as a spiritual master for the matter of material gain. It is illegal to become a spiritual master if one is unable to deliver the disciple. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. So here in this purport, Prabhupada is explaining about Maharaja is being a typical devotee. He is asking all the questions to Sukadeva Goswami. So And he is saying he is not only satisfied by confirming the importance of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and this from the representative of Brahmaji by disciplic succession. He is more anxious to establish the philosophical basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is how it happens. The conversations happens between the two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and also Sutta Goswami, Saunaka Sages, and Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami, Maitreya and Vidura, Narada Muni and Yudhishthira. So likewise, Brahma and Narada Muni, Krishna and Brahma. So likewise, these are conversations between the very inquisitive soul and the authority, and also Narada Muni and Vyasadeva. So all are conversations. So here, Parikshit is more anxious to establish the philosophical basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. Once we understand, when we take a birth and when you're childhood, we don't find the difference between whether it is a filthy thing or a good thing, whether we need to touch it or we don't touch it. As soon as the parents are teaching the children, they come to gradual understanding that, oh, this is not good, this is good. And if it is a fire, it will burn if I touch it. If without knowing that, then what happens? If that child touches the fire, it will burn him. So he learns all these things. But once he come into the mature stage, he does not go into the filthy places. He does not touch the fire unnecessarily. So that means he is now in the pure mature stage. So once this is the philosophy of the life, material life, in the spiritual life, once he understands that he is the spirit soul, he does not come in contact and he would not have desires of the enjoying this material nature, first of all, coming into the contact with matter. He doesn't come. So this is Akshara Sarva Bhutani Akshara Kotastu Akshara Uchya. So people who have got these desires, they fall into this material world. Ksharaha Sarva Bhutani, who have got this Panchabhutas body. They are the fallen souls. Kotastu Akshara Uchyate, and all the living entities who are more living entities than material world, they are in the spiritual world. They are Kotastu Akshara Uchyate, they never fall down. Because they have well established in the science of Srimad Bhagavatam. They know that is the philosophy. They're all Anand, this is the Satchidananda bodies, Satchidananda Vigraha, similar to the Lord's body. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such, all questions may arise in the mind of serious student must be cleared by the statements of the authority. A person on the path of devotional service may inquire from the spiritual master all about the spiritual position of God and living beings. So these are the questions to be inquired. Not one should not approach to the spiritual master asking how to earn a livelihood, how to find a job, and not for the material gain's sake. It is for the to gain the knowledge of uh, God and the living beings. So knowing that how it is possible. Mama ivamsho jivaloke jiva bhutaha sanatanaha manasastani indriyani prakrutistani karshati. Why living entity come here, though it is a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and struggling here unnecessarily, going to the schools just only to work more and more and more. So that is one has to inquire from the spiritual master. From the Bhagavad Gita as well as from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is known that qualitatively the Lord and the living beings are one. So this is Mama Vamsha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhutaha Sanatana. We are part and parcel of. We are tiny gold particle. Krishna is the gold mine, like that. The living being in the conditioned state of material existence is subjected to many transmigrations by the continuous changing of the material body, because unless his desires are not fulfilled, he has to take another body to fulfill all his desires. That way, dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tada dehantar prapti dhirastatra namuhyati. But who understands himself that he is different from and only the soul, he is changing the bodies, he is a dhiraha. So a dhira will not be bewildered, namuhyati. But what are the causes of material embodiment of the part and parcel of the Lord? So this is the question Maharaj is asking. This very important matter for the benefit of all classes of candidates on the path of self-realization and devotional service to the Lord. So here, when we in the Brahma Vaivartam, how the Lord expanded Himself in the throughout the universe since the creation, and then it is happening. Living entities are falling down due to the unlawful desires that they wanted to separately enjoy from Krishna, who are all trying to fulfill their desires while in contact with Krishna, dovetailing. They're always with Krishna in contact with only with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but who forget Kadati Kurchamam Yedvo Bohakratam Atikramam. So this is the position of Jaya and Vijay. They forget for a moment and then Yetau Pashudau Mahyam Jayo Vijayevacha. Kadati Kurchamam Yedvo Bohakratam Adikramam. They make a mistake. So because they forget for a moment and then uh, they make a big mistake and fall down into this material world. Though it is the desire of the Lord that to for further, but here, what is the constitution of a living entity? So the desires. Of course, there are each individual person has got different desires they wanted to have. Uh, so Krishna mentions Kama Yesha, Krodha Yesha, Rajoguna Samudbhavaha. Then he will fall into this material world and he will be compelled by the material nature. प्रकृतेः कर्माणि गुणे कर्माणि हि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ताहम इति मन्यते. But once he falls here with those unlawful desires, then he will be bound by the material nature, the rules of the material nature. But during that bewilderment, he thinks that he is the doer. That way, his activities continues in this material world, forgetfulness. But until he come in contact with a spiritual master. Indirectly, it is confirmed that the Supreme Being, the Lord, makes no such material changes of body. He is the Atmaram. He Sambhavami Atmamaya. He is spiritually whole with no difference between his body and his soul, unlike the conditioned soul. He is Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate. He is the complete whole. 1 plus 1 equal to 1, 1 minus 1 equal to 1. Krishna, he can expand so many Krishnas from his body. If we see from the historical point of view, he expanded himself into 16,108 forms, and he was in that many number of palaces with living with his consorts. So there is, but the Krishna is the pure, and here, and he is all, and he is Sambhavami Atmamaya. There is no difference between his body and his soul, unlike the conditioned. Whereas the conditioned soul, he is got a material body and subtle body. Subtle body is called Yakosham. That is the kosham, mind, intelligence, and ego. And material, this body is earth, water, fire, and wind and space. So these are the total 8 elements. So the liberated living beings who associate with the Lord in person are also like the Lord. This is Sarve Vaikunta Murtayaha. Vasantyatra Purushaha Sarve Vaikunta Murtayaha. Just like the Supreme Lord in the Vaikunta planets. They are always in the, they are the Kotastu Akshara Uchyate. They are in the spiritual planets. They do not fall down here. So only the conditioned souls awaiting liberation are subjected to the change of bodies. How was the process began? So now Parikshit is asking this question. How was the process? Whether it is Yadruchaya, it is by accidental, or Hetunava, is there any reason for it? How that process has come, this material world and all the living entities having these bodies. So in that process of service, the first step is to take the shelter of the spiritual master. तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षन्ते ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनः तत्त्वदर्शिनः. So this is tadviddhi pranipatena. So one has to take the shelter of the spiritual master. Then inquire from the spiritual master all about the process. So first is once we surrender, we have to render some service to the spiritual master and then inquire. Pariprashnena sevaya. And then the inquiry is essential for the immunity to all kinds of offenses on the path of devotional service. So this is, as soon as one is inquiring, then all his doubts will be gradually cleared out. And then he would not make any offenses again, knowing that the impact of it. Even if one is fixed in devotional service like Maharaja Parikshit, he must still inquire from the realized spiritual master all about this. So this is how it establishes the philosophical basis. He must still inquire from the realized spiritual master. So in other words, spiritual master also be well versed and learned so that he may be able to answer all these inquiries from the devotees. So here Prabhupada mentions in the other a spiritual master must support with the scriptural references. So when we are speaking, so it must be having the five topics. One is the statement, whatever we speak, it is the pratigna. So Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. One is pratigna. Second one is the reasons. We have to give the reasons why he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Number three, give the examples in the historically. That is the third one. And then Upanayana. So bringing the context, explaining through the different examples and the reasons, bring the context needed to support the pratigna, the first statement. And the fifth statement is the nigamana. So we have to show the scriptural evidences where it is recorded, which are given by the authorities. That is nigamana. So by these five steps, one can give the complete knowledge to the inquiring disciple so that he will be having that knowledge. So that thus one is who is not well versed in the authorized scriptures and not able to answer all such relevant inquiries should not pose as a spiritual master for the matter of material gain. And that is a illegal to become spiritual master if one is unable to deliver the disciple. This is very strong statement again. Okay, likewise, Prabhupada is explaining here. So Parikshit is asking all these questions to Sukadeva Goswami. So all this chapter is entirely questions. We shall see, and this would lead so that Sukadeva Goswami is going to bring the conversations between Vidura and Maitreya later on. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam here. So yad adatu mato brahman deharambho asya dhatubihi yadruchya hetuna va bhavanto janate yata. How these living entities come into this material world with the having a material body, whether it is accidental or if there is a reason for it. So questions are very interesting. That is from Srimad Bhagavatam. We shall quickly move into Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. Okay, today letter to Brahmananda, April 22nd, 1970, Los Angeles. It looks it is a small letter only. Can I request any other voluntary devotees to read this letter, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I please read?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Sorry, 1 minute. Dear Brahmananda, please accept my blessings. Regarding the topmost yoga in the blueprint, there are many mistakes. I am pointing out some of them as follows. Page 2, decided to kill his sister, not sisters, because only Devki was there. The Lord's compromise was that he had Vasudev's purpose to the brother-in-law. This sentence is obscure. The actual fact is Vasudev made a compromise and said to his brother-in-law such and such. When everyone there is yoginis, Goswamis, sannyasis, etc., in many places, and the N is not required, and that I have already informed Pradyumna. On page 17, there is a word in infuriated. This is a spelling mistake. It should be infuriated. Then on page 48, on the bank of the Ganga near Didbi, this is not Didbi, it is Delhi. On page 49, there are so many Goswamis, but there should be no N. In this way, I have read the book sporadically, not very minutely. I think it should be gone through once more very carefully, and all the mistakes that are still existing there should be corrected. If the books are printed with spelling mistakes and other mistakes, that will be a discredit for our publications. So please see that editorial work is done very nicely. Have you got any information of Prahlad's pictures? Purushottam got them here last year when I was living on Hayworth Avenue. I thought that the pictures were left here, but Dayananda has no information and nobody can tell where they are. So if you can say if it was returned to New York again, where is it now? Hope this meets you in good health. Your ever well wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I want to publish our book on Prahlad Maharaj with these pictures. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Any take points, Mataji?
I think this is really talking, I think we get an insight into Srila Prabhupada's, I would say perfectionist, if that's the right word to use, perfectionist mood, that he doesn't want any mistakes and certainly not spelling mistakes. And actually he's very sharp. He can see that it's just within the translation, so many meanings can be misinterpreted. So even between the different, I would say the different cultures in this case, there is different understanding of things. So he doesn't want there to be any mistakes because his consciousness is different. Like, decided to kill his sister, not sisters. Again, if someone was reading that, like they don't know nothing about anything, that could mean so many different things, and people can give so much interpretation depending on the consciousness that they're coming from. So he doesn't, he's very particular, and he's, he this just goes to show Srila Prabhupada's future thinking as well. Like the fact that, these people didn't even know what Delhi was. This is, and he's only read it sporadically and not even, he's just picked out the mistakes very quickly. So I think this is actually demonstrating that Srila Prabhupada is very meticulous and he doesn't want the message to be misunderstood, because different people's consciousness will create something different out of the same thing. So he wants there to be clarity. That's what I'm getting from this.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Any other points, dear devotees, you wanted to add further to this letter? Okay, so that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. So it is correction of the spellings and as it was instructed. So previously Prabhupada was mentioning to Pradyumna. So Pradyumna was doing all the learning Sanskrit and doing all the composing of this editorial work and many things. He did so much of work for us. Okay, so that is more small things Prabhupada wanted that was to be corrected, and otherwise it will be, so if it's still there are mistakes, it is a discredit for our publication. So we need to do this editorial work very nicely. So these are some instructions. Okay, that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter, and from the announcements point of view. So tomorrow, Saturday morning, we continue this Vaikuntha description, and then tomorrow evening we continue Chaitanya Charitamrita at 7 p.m. and tomorrow afternoon Krishna Club at 12 o'clock. These are our upcoming events. And dear devotees, if you have got any other updates or you wanted to share anything on Krishna consciousness, kindly share. Hare Krishna. And tomorrow there is a festival in the temple. If there are any specific updates you wanted to share about it, kindly share.
Sorry, is that on Dasera, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, so I know on Sunday there's the Dasera festival. So obviously in terms of the children, they're gonna have theirs in the morning. So they've been working on, I know in my class, they've been working on writing the anarthas down, the things they want to get rid of, and obviously to replace with the good qualities of the Lord. So, and then there's the other one for the everybody in the afternoon. But it's a really good exercise. Everybody really enjoyed it. That if we feel like, anything that we want to get rid of, it's a really good opportunity to just put that in the fire and then pray for the good qualities of that, that Lord Ram represents.
Okay, thank you, Mataji, for that update. And dear devotees, if you have got an opportunity, and as Mataji said, kindly follow those instructions. Okay, that is from the updates perspective. Any other updates, or we can conclude and continue with further japa? Okay. वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। हैव ए कृष्ण कॉन्शियस डे एवरीवन। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य